Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Force, and today I'll be talking with you about Titanfall, the major release, probably one of the bigger releases that we're going to be seeing this year, at least in terms of hype. Well, I guess it's kind of early to say that. I mean, we're only a few months in, but anyways, needless to say, this is a very big game. Lots and lots of excitement around this title, and the launch has been fairly successful thus far, at least in terms of things like viewership. You take a look at Twitch, and the Titanfall numbers are quite up there. And it seems to be a game that a lot of people are talking about right now, and a lot of people are talking about very positively. So what I want to do here in this video is give you some of my first impressions. First, let me give you a little bit of my background. Well, if you don't know me, my name is Force. I cover games on YouTube. But in terms of my FPS history, I used to spend a lot of time with the Call of Duty games, specifically the earlier Modern Warfare titles. I played quite a bit, and I think the last one that I really got into was COD 4. And that's not to say I haven't played some of the recent installments, because I have played the two most recent Call of Duty games, but I just really didn't stick with them. You know, I picked them up to cover them here on YouTube, and then after playing for a few hours, you know, I tried the single player, tried the multiplayer, and I was like, you know, I've had enough. I feel like I've had this experience before. And I'm not trying to take away from COD, I'm just saying myself personally, I really couldn't get back into those titles. And coming into this, I just felt like, okay, is this going to be sort of the same? Because this looks, if you just look at it, if you just look at the gameplay footage, running around, shooting people frantically, very small maps, tight corridors, constant action, it felt very Call of Duty-esque. Obviously, there's inclusion of Titans, and we'll be getting to that in a moment, but the general feel that I think a lot of people get from just looking at standard gameplay footage is, oh, okay, this is just like a futuristic inclusion of mechs and jetpacks version of Call of Duty. And I don't know that I would say that that's a wrong statement, but I would say that the combination of all the elements that this game puts together and the environments, I think, really brings something fresh to it and have made it really enjoyable. Made it so enjoyable for me that it's something that I've stuck with. I mean, again, I really haven't gotten too into shooters in the last few years since my time with Call of Duty back in the day, but I've already, in the past 24 hours, I've already sunk, I want to say about 5 or 6 hours into this game. I mean, I've really, and that's on top of playing other games too. I mean, I've really devoted some time, again, in the past day or so into this. And that's not, you know, obviously that doesn't tell us much about the long tail of this, like how is this going to do, how am I going to feel about this game a week from now. But right at this moment, my first impressions are very, very positive, and this seems to echo a lot of the sentiment that we're getting from a variety of sources in the industry, and then even, you know, beyond people in the gaming industry. Just talking with my friends, I've had a lot of friends pick this game up, and they've been having a really, really great time. Now, again, this doesn't tell us much, if anything, about how this game will be doing in a week, a month, half a year from now. But as of the moment, the hype is big, and a lot of people seem to be thinking very positively, and I will add to that echo chamber. I will say that I'm one of those people. I'm having an absolutely amazing time. So let's talk a little bit about the gameplay. Let's talk a little bit about how my experience has been so far. So we do have, again, the standard small map sort of corridor style shooter of just running around and picking off enemies. But the inclusion of Titans and the inclusion of these card packs, which essentially give you bonuses when you get taken out. You can do things like increased duration cloak, infinite grenades, better upgrade, better starter weapons, things like that. It's a really neat little system. So there's not the standard kill streak. You do get benefits from being successful, though, and those benefits are that your Titan is going to be coming quicker. But beyond the standard shooting, the two big elements, the two big new inclusions over what we see from a Call of Duty or even a Battlefield, although Battlefield is on a different spectrum because Battlefield, again, we've got larger maps with Battlefield and we've got a variety of vehicles. This game, again, has much, I think it has much more similar in terms of the gameplay style to a Call of Duty, but I don't want to spend this whole video just making comparisons. What I want to say is what makes this unique and what makes it interesting to me, like my inability to blast through glass there. So the verticality of this game, I think that adds a huge element, and you'll see people bring up games like Tribes, and let's just get this out of the way. This is nothing like Tribes. It doesn't play. The only thing remotely similar is the fact that there are jetpacks in the game, but even that, it just plays quite differently doubled those words up. It plays quite differently from Tribes, no doubt about it. But the inclusion of jetpacks adds this verticality that really adds not only an extra level of opportunity in terms of how you can approach your opponent and how you can approach any different situation. Now, certainly other FPS games have a multitude of levels, but the quickness in which you can sort of get up to another level and take the high ground, you know, it's awesome. It's really awesome. It provides so many daunting points of entry for your opponent. And on the flip side, it makes it like a high octane situation when you're trying to defend, because you have to look up, you have to look down, you've always got to be concerned about all these multiple angles and how things can happen so quickly. And I guess that's another thing that I think they've really nailed in this game, and that is the quickness. It's really fast and frantic gameplay. There's always a million things going on. It's almost to the point of sensory overload, and I don't say that in a negative context either, because I don't think it's so much so that I get like sick from it, but there's always a lot going on at any given time, and it requires your constant attention. Now, what you've been seeing here in the background is a game of HARDPOINT, which is basically capture the points. There'll be 3 points on a map, and you contend. You fight with your enemies. I mean, you've played this in pretty much every FPS game in the past 10 years. A capture the point game mode, a zone control game mode. It's pretty standard in that, you know, you go there, you stand there for a couple seconds, you'll take it from your enemy, it'll become yours, and then your points add up. Here in this game, you've got to go up to a score of 400, and then once you hit that score, that's the end of the match. The games also end in a very interesting way. The loser has an opportunity to score some extra points, allowing you to level up a little bit more. Now, there is a level and progression system in this game in which you'll unlock new weapons, new attachments for your weapons, new Titan loadouts, new options for your Titan, such as different weapons, different defensive capabilities, all sorts of fun stuff like that. So there's a standard level and progression system. And if you're playing in a match and you happen to lose, at the end of the match, you have an opportunity to basically evacuate. And if you can get to this drop point and get on the ship and get out of there, that's going to give you some extra points towards that level up process. And that's just a small little thing, but I think it's a pretty neat inclusion to have in there, because you know, yesterday in the stream I actually complained about it. I was like, I just want to get to the next match. What the heck is this? But then I realized, okay, well, this makes it so that if you're, you know, say you're on the losing team, but it's like the rest of your teammates' fault because they're not playing properly, at least you have the opportunity to score some extra points at the end of the game, which is a lot of fun. Now, one thing that I think a lot of people might be concerned about when they see, I mean, here in this particular video, I did go on quite a rampage with the Titan. You know, Titans aren't completely overpowered. Even as a regular infantry person, you alone have the opportunity to take down a Titan. So everyone is, every loadout has a bound to the number 3 slot. It's basically an anti-Titan weaponry, and there's all sorts of different weapons. There's lock-on rocket launchers. There's basically things like grenade launchers. There's assault rifle variants that are particularly strong at taking out Titans. All sorts of different weapons, but you definitely can go on a crazy spree. I mean, again, here in this particular match, I did some work in my Titan, but it's not normally this way. I was playing extra cautious, staying away from damage whenever possible. This is actually kind of funny here. Guy blows me up, and I think I get a couple shots off. I don't know if I end up taking it out, but yeah, I didn't end up taking it out there. Oh well, at least he eventually got taken down. It's a lot of fun. This game's a lot of fun. I guess that's all there really is to say. My first impressions have been highly positive. Like I said, a few of the points that I touched on here. It's fast, it's frantic, it feels fresh because of the extra level of the jetpacks, adding that verticality to this style of shooter. The Titans are so much fun to get in, but on the flip side, if you're not in a Titan, you don't feel like you're completely SOL, because again, you do have the opportunity to take them out. I've seen some people talking about server issues. I personally, playing on the PC, haven't noticed much of anything. Now, there was a little bit of server downtime, I believe, earlier in the day. I saw a post up on Reddit about that, but every time that I've tried to play, and again, I've put in about 5 to 6 hours now at this point, I haven't had any problem whatsoever. So yeah, there you go, guys. That's gonna do it for this video. Thanks so much much for watching. Again, I just wanted to give you some of my initial impressions. This was actually rather embarrassing. I wanted to give you some of my initial impressions of Titanfall, having a great time with it. I'll be sure to update you guys about a week from now as to whether or not I'm still playing it, and see if I can get a general sense of the community a week out. And then, you know, maybe we'll touch base in a couple of months from now as well. Not that I think that I'll be playing this game nonstop for months, not because I won't like it, but because there's just so much else to play. But right now, I'm having a great time. I'm loving Titanfall, and if you're even somewhat interested in it, I'd suggest giving it a look. Thanks guys so much for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe, keep watching, and keep owning.